Yeah, hello and welcome to our Tech Talk series. Some of you know, or you should know, that when working with software, we need a versioning system. While out there are very many versioning systems, I personally choose this one called GitHub. Sure, when working on business projects, when you join maybe this decision has been made. While you adopting the way of working already defined, you can always ask a question like why? Why did we choose this versioning system? Today I want to talk about why choosing GitHub as your open source or business versioning system. Thinking on the main idea of having your work somewhere in the cloud on a data center, the main benefit of using it is not to lose your work. What if your laptop is not working anymore or encrypted or stolen? You and your team rely on this versioning system. Looking from their perspective, from the service point of view, to be reliable, they need to think out of the box. GitHub have in place a very interesting system recovery from disaster point of view. Part of their archiving activities announced in GitHub Universe 2019 in this GitHub is this GitHub Arctic Vault. What is this vault about? I will try to share my screen with to include computer sound. Yep, include computer sound, and then um, I'll give it full screen, and let's hope you can hear what they say.
Right. Thank you, Devin. We're really excited about sponsored projects, and I'm really proud of the work that we're doing at GitHub to try to help open source communities continue to thrive. Now, we've been talking this morning about the importance of open source, but to put it in context and maybe a larger historical context, I wanted to tell you a short story. This is Florence in Italy, and this is the dome of the Florence Cathedral. It's the famous Duomo that was created at the height of the Italian Renaissance. And the story of how it was built is interesting. At the beginning of the 15th century, in 1418, the leaders of Florence set up a contest to find a builder who could create this beautiful dome. And at the time, no one knew how to construct a dome of this scale because no such dome had been created actually since the Roman Empire, since nearly 1,500 years earlier. That engineering knowledge that came from antiquity had been lost. But then a man who was named Filippo Brunelleschi, who lived in Florence and wanted to win the contest, took a trip to Rome. And he went there to study the Roman ruins and some of the ancient texts from Vitruvius and others to rediscover these ancient engineering techniques. And he learned from them and he was inspired by them and used what he learned in the construction of this beautiful cathedral. That ancient Roman knowledge that he was able to find in Rome helped power the Italian Renaissance. Now, when we think about our world today, the knowledge required to build a dome is not that different from the knowledge of how to build a container or how to create an accurate machine learning model or to make an app that works for 1 billion people. There's this long history on Earth of humanity where big things happened without software. Algebra was invented, gunpowder was discovered, empires rose and fell, and that's over. Nothing big will ever happen again without software. It's almost crazy or outlandish to say it, but human progress actually depends on open source. And so the code you write is important. It matters, and it should be preserved. And so at GitHub, we decided we should do something. And to be honest, we might have gotten a little carried away, but let's just see for yourself.
Deep in the Arctic Circle, an archipelago covered in ice, Svalbard, home to the northernmost town in the world. to thousands of polar bears. And it is here you can find the global seed vault. Millions of seeds have been sent here from across the globe for secure long-term storage in cold and dry rock vaults. Just down the road is a decommissioned coal mine that has taken on new life. This is where we will protect open source software for future generations. Deep within the permafrost layer, which can stretch up to 400 meters thick, we will store the world's open source software on silver halide film. The data is encoded on frames with 8.8 million pixels each and designed to last over 1,000 years. In our initial deposit, we archive thousands of the world's most depended on open source projects. The work of hundreds of thousands of developers from around the world. We will return next spring, during the perpetual light of the midnight sun, to deposit every active public repository on GitHub for safekeeping in the GitHub Arctic Code Vault.
All right, wow. A little bit crazy, we know. So 2 weeks ago, we traveled to Svalbard to deposit the most popular and most depended upon open source projects into the GitHub Arctic Code Vault, and they're there now. And the beauty of this place is just stunning. It's so remote. There's fewer than 3,000 people that live in Svalbard. But we actually met a number of GitHub users there, using open source software to drive scientific instruments and interpret their data to study the aurora borealis. And I think one of them's here somewhere, Katie, wherever you are. And so it turns out software is everywhere. Even this crazy remote place runs on open source. And so this is our code vault. And to make sure that your code is included, all you need to do is have an active public repo by February 2nd of next year. We will snapshot every repo that's been active in the prior year on that date and store it in Svalbard. Now, this effort was inspired by many people, and especially inspired by generations of people who have made archiving their life's work. Archivists are so important. And so this actually, the GitHub Arctic Code Vault is just one piece of the work we're doing to preserve and protect open source for developers who are here today and for developers yet to come. And the broader effort we call the GitHub Archive Program. And I'm really happy to announce that we've partnered with many of the people and the organizations that inspired us, who are dedicated to preserving knowledge, to make sure that we store the actual code in different locations, in different storage media around the world. Lots of copies keep stuff safe. And so a few of our partners are actually here today. The Internet Archive, talking about how the Wayback Machine will give you full access to GitHub. The Arctic World Archive, Software Heritage Foundation, Long Now, Stanford, and Microsoft Research, which is developing Project Silica, which is a 10,000-year storage medium. So they'll be here on the main stage at 4:15. Don't miss it. All right. It has been an action.
Okay, so this is about Arctic Vault and the people who have a GitHub account, people who had an open source code, they are giving this achievement badge, Arctic Code Vault contributor. So if you are one of those user of GitHub, then you are a lucky one because your code has been archived there and now it's really safe. Okay, so this was my presentation. I'm open for any questions. Anyone? If not, I will stop the recording and